Hello guys, salam alaikum. I wanted to start this video off today with a beautiful compliment that I received today. We were learning about how when I'm in my teaching degree, one of my classes, we're learning about how when you're trying to teach a student, you don't just sit there and talk to them for an hour straight because that would obviously bore them. Anyway, the teacher asked the class, they said, which one of you, put your hand up if you're happy to sit and watch someone speak for an hour straight and not say anything. And none of us put our hand up, right? Anyway, following that, my friend taps me on the shoulder, who I go to uni with. We're kind of like uni buddies, And she says, Josie, you're the only person I actually would listen to for an hour. Like I would. I would be more than happy to listen to you for more than an hour. And my heart literally melted to the floor because I was touched. Okay, it was beautiful. And I love receiving compliments like that are thoughtful and that are, they're not just, oh, you're beautiful. They're, Josie, stuff like that. That's so specific. And it really stuck with me today. I felt so happy. I literally skipped my way home. Anyway, and she said, you should come out with a podcast or something, like even what you were discussing before, because I was talking about something that I was interested in because I'm always just talking, okay? Anyway, I was so touched by that because let's just rewind my life, okay? The way you perceive me now and the way you see me now is through the way I speak, right? And the way I look. That's how you perceive me. I can't change the way you perceive me because even just when you first meet someone, you already have a perception of them. They can't really change it because it's already there. It's kind of just how a person interprets who you are, right? And so through my whole life of, my journey, I've had so many downfalls. I've had so many moments of just self-hatred because I've always been that person that was either too much or I've always been that person that was not enough, okay? Now, that has gone into every single thing. It's leaked into everything into my life, and it's taken me such a journey, like it's been such a journey now that to even sit here and talk to you confidently and look at myself and say, I look beautiful and I'm well-spoken, that took me ages to actually realize and believe about myself. No matter who told me that, no matter what validation I got, I never believed it, right? I was always in and out of friend groups. I was always having huge, just emotional meltdowns. I couldn't control this depth and this ocean of emotions I constantly felt. And I always felt so out of the box. I never fit in anywhere. And it was because I wasn't like anyone else around me. There was no one else that, I would bring up an idea, they would kind of look at me a bit weirdly, or that I'd say something and they'd pick on me, or they'd bully me, or they'd throw my pencil case to the ground. People, I was always just a burden on people, right? And so having these feelings, having these experiences, having these emotions, and then hearing something like that from someone that's, known me through uni, and we have conversations here and there, and like we don't even see each other, that much. So hearing that from someone and that they think of me in that way, I just felt, alhamdulillah, I felt like, that's that tick off the box, like I've made it, right? Anyway, it's taken me such a long journey to, balance out my emotions, I guess, to become the person I've always dreamt to be, to do things that I want to do, I'm running a marathon in October, and I was thinking while I was running today, I was like, wow, I'm running a marathon. Like, tell Josie that 2 years ago. What would she say? Like, you always think I always think I'm not doing enough. I always think, oh, life's this or life's that. But wow, look how far I've come. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But I just think that you don't realize how far you've come until the most random of moments. And then you realize, wow, I've come so far. And, these are still triggers for me today. Like I still get triggered from certain things in my home life that have been happening since I was a child that have given me these feelings like I'm not enough or I'm too much, right? From parents, family, everything, right? And I still get triggered and it still envelopes me and it still, burdens my soul. But I know in myself that I'm capable to rise up above that. And I know in myself that I'm someone that can be admired. I'm someone that can be, influence, a positive influence on someone. So I think having that capability and feeling like, oh my God, I am someone that someone could listen to for an hour and not be bored. I just felt like, wow, I am enough for someone. And I think feeling like that was just, it was amazing. Anyway, I guess that's why I made this little video journal YouTube, because I don't know who else to share these thoughts with. You know, I share them with family, with friends, with people around me, but like, you know, I can't really have a solid conversation because sometimes their ideas clash with my ideas, or like I can't just, you know, yap for a long time. Anyway, it's funny because the one thing she mentioned that, you know, we're talking about today as well, is that she was talking about how she said to me, oh, do you ever wonder what a celebrity's doing? And I was like, oh, you know, they're probably just doing a human thing, like, you know, going to the toilet or doing an errand or something, right? And then I said to her, like, isn't it so funny that, you know, these celebrities, these human beings, right? They're just humans that we've, you know, put a crown on, and that, you know, if they walk into a room, everyone's like, oh my God, and we get this reaction and everyone starts hyperventilating, and it's just, for me, it's such a crazy concept to, you know, someone walks into a room and you start hyperventilating, you're like, I need to get a photo, oh my God, where's my phone? Oh my God, my phone's dead. Like, they actually incite, you know, this reaction. And I was talking to her about how I find that so funny. Like, we're actually, that's, you know, human beings, we think we're so like cool and complex, and you look at someone on the street and you're like, wow, you know, they look mysterious or they look awesome, but like, you know, a celebrity walks in, they're going, they drop their guard, and you know what I mean? As humans, we're so funny. Anyway, point of what I'm saying is that if you feel like you're misunderstood, or if you feel like you don't fit in anywhere, and, you know, things are bad, because when you feel like that, things can go really bad really quickly, just know that God has a plan for you, and there will be a time where one day you are noticed for the traits that you've always been doubtful of, or you've always, you know, longed for. And when you have that time, it's like no other feeling. So just give it patience and just wait it out, and things will get better, inshallah. Anyway, I think that's my yap over. Another thing as well that I was thinking about today was that, I think I've spoken about this before, is that the things you give thought to have power over you. So the ability to actually control your mind, and the ability to actually step back and say, I'm going to think about something else, or I'm going to keep busy. Instead of thinking about this, I'm going to start doing something so I don't think about this anymore, right? Because when you're just sitting there and you're thinking about it, you're literally just stopping time, right? You think time just stops, but time keeps going. But if you're actually busy doing something, that thought will just wither away, if that makes sense. So anyway, only give thoughts time that are actually powerful and that are actually positive. And that's why, you know, listening to bad music, watching horror movies, all that crap, it's so bad, because what is that? What type of thoughts are those bringing on? Anxiety. They're bringing on darkness, the energy, the Satanism, all that crap. Anyway, I think I'm done. But it's just nice to be noticed for those traits, you know? And yeah, I'm only 23, but I feel wise, you know? I feel like a granny sometimes. And that's why I also feel like I get misunderstood, because I think I had to mature really quickly when I was younger. Not mature, but I had to go through some things when I was younger. Shoulder really hurts. And I had to go through some things when I was younger that had to make me think deeply, and that had to make me suffer to get to where I am today. But alhamdulillah, because everything gets you to a better place, and if it's not okay, you always will be okay. Peace. Bye, guys.